Assalamualaikum and very good morning. We are from Group 2 and our title project is Water Management in Malaysia. Before we start our presentation, here are our group members. First, Nur Elia Najwa binti Abdul Halim, Putra Amila Tarudin bin Muhammad Nizam, Muhammad Huzai bin Hasnul, Mania Rasan anak lelaki Muni Chandran, and last but not least, Tarswindran anak lelaki Rajan Diran. For the abstract, in contextualizing the serious water loss, insufficient resources utilization, and ineffective water utility management in Malaysia, the objective of this study is to understand the public perception of non-revenue water and RW management in order to provide the policy inputs and to determine the ways to improve public participation in an RW reduction. Finding revealed there is currently only meager public participation in NRW management in Malaysia, with a majority of the respondents demonstrating a lack of knowledge and awareness on NRW. To this end, concrete policy implications derived from the finding of the study are outlined. This article is going to explain how water management in Malaysia works out.
Now I would like to talk about the introduction. The Ministry of Water, Land and Natural Resources was established to bring together three distinct sectors under one roof. Resources and services are combined to function in harmony by forming KATS, while the Ministry of Energy, Technology, Science, Climate Change and Environment, Ministry of Housing and Local Government, KPKT, and Ministry of Agriculture, MOA, need to merge to form a multiple agency in order to manage the country's precious water resources, natural resources and sewerage services require the same agreement to work together under the newly formed ministry KATS. The federal government is in charge of encouraging uniformity in laws, giving technical assistance, putting up hydrological and other monitoring stations, collecting hydrological data, conducting surveys and doing pertinent studies for the management of the nation's water resources. Water, rivers, land and forests all fall under the purview of the state government, along with the zoning of water catchment regions and regulation of local development. Objective of water management in Malaysia is manage your water resources holistically, then maintain a balance between water consumption and conservation. Next, utilize water resources wisely and effectively. Then, safeguard and distribute water equally. Additionally, create cross-sectoral, national and state conditioning mechanism for river basin management. Then create strategies for involving stakeholders effectively. Furthermore, make sure that the water resources in each river basin are distributed fairly, utilizing an ecosystem management strategy, manage river basins. And finally, reduce drought, floods and water pollutions. The main problems and obstacles facing Malaysia's water sector are institutional and legal issues. At present, water legislation is contained within the laws that are enforced by the various water-related government agencies, and many of these laws are outdated, redundant or ambitious. This diversified water legislation focuses on limited aspects of water resources and water supply directly related to the responsibilities of the respective government agencies, and thus difficult to enforce effectively. Then increase competition for water. Competition among the many water users has resulted from the growing demand for the scarce and shrinking supply of clean water, which competition in the continuous economic growth exhibits more and more. Then increased flooding problems. Physically and economically, it is rare to be able to completely regulate floods. However, in line with the associated cost, flood mitigation techniques are implemented to minimize flood damage. Then environmental degradation. Rivers continue to be a practical way to dispose solid trash in addition to organic pollutants. When home waste is not collected, burned, or buried, a large amount of it ends up in the drains and waterways. Next, low efficiency of water use. Since a quarter to a third of the domestic and industrial water is lost before it reaches the users, there is also significant amount of unaccounted for water in metropolitan water delivery system. And finally, increased expectation of the people. People expectation will rise, placing more demands on water resources for both pollution prevention and water delivery. The need of optimal water use becomes more urgent when population growth and industrialization compete for demanding water supplies.
I will present about literature review for our topics, water management in Malaysia. Okay, first, management of water as a precious resources. The nation's water resources must be preserved for the sake both the present and the next generation. To implement the best management practice in the development of water resources, and adjustment to institutional structure is required. Sustainable socio-economic development is required for the country to benefit from its water resources. Okay, next for national water resources. Okay, right now, more than 90% of the nation's freshwater resources are derived from groundwater resources. Over the landmass of Malaysia, there is 990 billion m3 of yearly precipitation. On the other hand, it is believed that 5,000 billion m2 of groundwater are contained in the country aquifer. Okay. Next is main sector that use water. First is agriculture, second is industrial and domestic, for the third is non-consumptive user, and lastly is biological diversity. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so next water resources protection. This picture is done. The word protection refers to a safeguarding effort against unwelcome change. Water resources management include the construction of projects like dam to save water during the wet season for later use. In order to share limited water resources among neighboring states or nations, cooperative legal agreements have been negotiated over a long period of time. Next, landscape setting for water resource protection. Landscape setting must be taken into account while protecting water resource, as well as the future of the water resources that exist there and the necessary safety precautions. Compared to mountain terrains, karst terrains offer a different type of water resource occurrence. Next, one characteristic of the hydrology of highly terrain is the extreme variable nature of the precipitation and the transport of water over and through steep land slopes. And last, the availability of the water resources, however, may be treated by a significant reliance on riverine ecosystem. Next, method for water resource protection. So that's four methods. First, technique for modeling water resources have been applied to water resource purification practice to evaluate how land use active effort groundwater retention and availability. Infiltration declines, which have an impact on groundwater retention and storage, have been related to increased urbanization. and land use change has been identified as major been in, okay, and last for me, application for water resource protection. That means the regional scale of protecting water resource refer to actions conducted with a state employing national policies at a level higher than local. Prior to becoming imminent at regional level, water resources challenge first occurred at a local level, since local government and local communities play a crucial role in such practice. Local water resources protection and management are essential to the sustainable use for water resources.
For the recommendation, 4.1, the worlding progress toward IWRM. The water resources management in Malaysia has been secretarial and fragmented for decades, although various programs has been developed to create awareness for IWRM. There is still a general lack of understanding of IWRM, and since the development toward it will be very slow. And 4.2 is financial application. IWRM requires each department to consider the integrate the cost in the department affected by any project proposed by a department. And for the 4.3 federal state conflict, the federal government effort to uniform the water law, especially in the case of IWRM, are often hampered by the states which prefer to stick to their state legislation because of the tradition. Some states like Sabah and Sarawak have more advanced legislation due to both historical and constellation factors, and this may further hinder the federal government invitation. And for the 4.4 social attitude, the overall effectiveness of IWRM depends more on the mindset of the politician as well as the general public. In this regard, Malaysia's society needs to understand the issue surrounding the water sector and play their part in ensuring the more sustainable future. In conclusion, the entire water problem cannot be solved as it continues to appear from time to time. Malaysia's water problem is not called the great crisis. However, we can get there if we are not careful. Therefore, there are many areas that need improvement to achieve better governance in water management, native management, leakage water, innovative population, public indifference or other causes are main problem of the water. Therefore, the solution of our country water problem is not by leveraging groundwater reserve, by improving and maintaining existing water supply infrastructure. Thank you.